session very shortly. I just checked the recording is on. Yes, joined in from. Okay. All right. So, very good afternoon to dear learners. We are just on time. And just So here we are meeting today once again for the week 7th of the problem solving sessions. We have been covering a lot of content in these particular sessions. And just give me a minute and let's wait for a while so that we just can join. So here we are in the week 7th of our problem solving sessions. As you all know, it's a 12-week journey, and we have reached the halfway of this particular journey. And I'm glad that we are still there, and with the learners joining in and being a part of this wonderful journey of problem solving sessions of this particular course on understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. To begin with, let me just reiterate what we have covered, what we have gone through. It has been a 6-week long journey where we have discussed lots of aspects, starting from the startups, why they fail, what kind of teams are built, the different kind of incubation facilities which the country has, various sectors where you can take your idea and get incubated from, and various programs which are available, which you can go through, which you can take help, guidance, mentorship. Right? And then at the same time, we are also doing a lot of case studies. We are calling in people who are from academics, who are from innovation companies, organizations, and at the same time, the incubators of these programs are sharing their perspective, their views on the kind of program they have gone through, what were their challenges, how it helped them pivot from their original idea. So there's lots and lots of learning, and I believe that if you are interested in incubation and entrepreneurship, I think this is a wonderful course, having loads of information, lots and lots of things which we can learn from. Not many takeaways, what to follow, do's and don'ts, how to build a team, how to have a great team composition, how to build, develop a business model. So in and all, I think it's a complete package which can guide you in terms of developing a great team, a great product, and a successful business venture, right? So with that, what we'll do is I'll share my screen and we'll start our journey of understanding incubation and entrepreneurship with our week 7 of the problem solving sessions. So let me share my screen and let's begin today. Here we are in week 7 of the course Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The course instructor is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, and I am Abhishek. And let me quickly tell you about my profile, just brief introduction. So my undergraduation was in Bachelor's of Architecture. It was during 2006 to 11 from SP Delhi. It's a CFTI. And architecture is a 5-year course. And right after doing my bachelor's, I started my master's design 2013 again from SPA. And right after I completed my post graduation, I joined Infosys. Infosys, in Telugu. And I was associated as a user interface designer, and I got promoted and I became the senior designer there. And in 2015 or so, I joined Think Design. And this is a company which is primarily now in the UX. And I joined the Delhi branch there. They have multiple branches across Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and even overseas they are started having. Okay, so after that I started my own company in 2016 called as Mira Zain. I was the director. It was my stint as an entrepreneur here, and I worked there for a couple of years. Then I think 2018 or so, I parallelly I was also teaching at colleges. So I was associated with the Department of Industrial Design in SPA Italy, and then I joined the World University of Design, which is in Sonipat. Okay, and then I joined the UP Institute of Design. It's called the UPID. It is in Noida, and it was a state government institute. Then in the year 2021, in December, I took up my doctoral journey. And I got associated with the Department of Design and IIT Roorkee, and the PhD just started. I'm currently in my last leg of the doctoral journey also. We're going to finish this year end. So that is a brief profile of me. And now in the PhD, I've been offered the PMRA, which is the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, which mandates us to do 2 hours of teaching every week. And that is where the NPTEL gave us this flexibility of taking the classes. And so I'm a TA, just a teaching assistant. This particular course of understanding incubation and shit. So I've taken up at least 3 to 4 editions of this. 3 to 4 editions of this course I've already taken as a TA, and this is probably my fourth or fifth time where I've taken up this particular course. Right, so this is a brief profile of me. And if we talk about learners, what we have seen is that learners have come from different profiles. So one are the students. These are mostly the college students. Then you have educators, which includes the professors who are teaching at various institutions. Then there was also some professionals who have joined the course. Right? And then I've also seen few people who are in their late 70s and 80s who have taken up this course. So we've got quite a diversity in terms of our learners, their age group, with their profession, and that is what makes this course so amazing, so powerful, and so effective. So whichever domain you are in, whichever profession you are in, whichever age you are in, this course will help you in terms of building your idea, taking your idea forward, and building a effective, startup in a business. All right. So the general agenda is like the live sessions are there to help you in the current term of course, and we shall discuss and solve week specific assignments. And right now we are at week 7th. Okay. So we'll be discussing about week 7 content and related set of 10 questions. Now these set of 10 questions they differ from the live assignment because the live assignments are there to evaluate you. Okay. But these set of 10 questions are mostly for your understanding. Okay. And we do not evaluate the set of 10 questions. So you can be free, you can suggest whatever is fine, whatever you think is correct answer. You can share your perspective and we can go and discuss all these set of 10 questions. Also, we do respond to the questions and queries. So if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, we'll be there to guide you, assist you, mentor you, and we'll try to address those queries. While those queries are also being addressed through the discussion forum functionality. And what we also do is we do a content recap of the ongoing week. Now, this is something which I've started to add because many times I saw the learners who were not able to go through the content, and for them it was a little tricky to answer these set of questions. So that is where we have added this section wherein we do a content recap. Now, this content recap is like a visual summary. Should write to concept mapping, and we'll try and play a short video about your raw content, like 7 to 8 minutes. That's what we do in our session today. Now, during the live session, we expect everybody to keep your mic on mute because we are recording these sessions. These sessions will be uploaded on YouTube because it's a mandate given by the NPTEL. And if you want to speak, just give me a minute. Let me just quickly check the recording that it is happening or not because I've seen a couple of times, we missed out. Yeah, it is on. And you can unmute yourself wherever you feel that you have a question which needs to be addressed, right? That can be done. And for questions, we also have a functionality called the discussion forum. Okay. Now, what discussion forum does is that you can ask a question tab. You can actually raise a question, whichever question which you think is concerning you, you are not able to answer it, and that will help you in posting your questions. Now, how this discussion forum helps is that we have NPTEL learners, NPTEL members, we have learners, and we have me as your TA. So we've got all three stakeholders who are there and replying to the questions. So if you have any questions, if you post and reply all, post it to the visibility of all, then everybody will get to see that question. And while replying also, everyone will be able to view the response. Something is troubling. I'm just checking because it is consumption. So it's going further. All these sessions are being recorded and they are being uploaded at a particular location. This is my channel location. You can refer it. And even the presentations which we are seeing, these are converted from PPT to a PDF. These PDFs gets uploaded in the Google Drive. Okay, so no need to worry about these long locations, web addresses, because right at the bottom you will see problem solving sessions. Right. That's the link. So if you click on the link, it will lead you to a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is basically like your Excel sheet, wherein there will be week-wise content available. So week one, week two, week three, and corresponding YouTube links will be available. Okay. And there will be a common location for the PDFs, common drive. So the PDFs of all these problem solving sessions will be uploaded in this particular drive. Okay. And talking about the course preview, it is understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. The course instructor is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, who is from the IDC School of Design, and he did his PhD from IIT Delhi, while this is from IIT Bombay, and he also takes care of the Design Innovation Center. And currently, he is at the Mahindra University, and he is trying to set up the School of Design there. All right. And let me tell you and remind you about the deadline. So week 7 assignment deadline is 10th of September. So you've got a few days, approximately 4 days. And the good part is that you can submit the assignment any number of time till the deadline. Okay. You can submit the assignment any number of times till the deadline. Okay. And your final exam date is 26th of October. It will be happening either in the pre-lunch or post-lunch slot. So, and at a particular venue. Venue is something which you would have mentioned in terms of a priority. So, usually you do get the center of your choice, but that details are something which you'll be able to see only in the hall ticket. You'll have to wait for the hall ticket, which is primarily released at least 1 week prior. All right. So, like you all know that we are following up the protocol slides. If you've already gone through it, you can sit back and relax for the set of 10 questions. And we basically do this because any new learner can join in any of these sessions, right? So, coming on to the progress, you've got three heads: assessment scores, unit-wise progress, and grading and certification policy. Unit-wise progress is basically the amount of content you're consuming, you're reading through, you're going through. All that is visible. So the blue part denotes what you have read, and the empty part or the grayed out part is something which you have just now filled out. I think this is something which has already gone by. The deadline is over, but let me just remind you. So the course is free to learn from if you're interested. But at the same time, if you want to earn a certificate, you will have to register. And the registration date was 15th of August, and later it was extended to 22nd of August, and it is already over by now. All right. Coming on to the certification details, I think you can quickly have a quick read about it, and then I will explain to you, what are the underlying principles around it. Okay, so let me just write it like this. Okay. So just like in your university or college examination, you have terms like internals, externals, and overall. Likewise, here we have externals, which are the weekly assignments. Okay. The quizzes which are posted in NPTEL, those are your internals. The venue-based exam is your external, okay, wherein you will be going and visiting an exam center. And the overall score will be a sum of all these. Now, the weightage given to this is 25%. Weightage given here is 75%, so that your overall weightage is 100%. The underlying criteria is that here you need to score more than 10. Here you have to score more than 30, so that your overall score is more than 40. It's a very tricky situation because there could be multiple scenarios which can be made out of it. For example, you performed well and you scored 20 out of 25. However, here you scored 25 out of 75. Your overall score is 45. Now you're meeting this criteria, you have met this criteria, but you are failing in this criteria, which means no certificate. Let's take another scenario. In this case, you have scored 5 out of 25, but here you scored brilliantly 50 out of 75. Your overall score is 55. Again, you are meeting this criteria, you are meeting this criteria, but you are failing in the internals, which means no certificate. Right? So I'm not there, I'm not scaring you guys, but I'm just telling you the importance of both the weekly assignments and the external. You have to take both seriously. And if you have been going through the content diligently, you're submitting your quizzes, weekly quizzes in timely manner, then you don't have to worry about these things. All All right, so this is how we have progressed from week one till week seven. If you see, week one started with the very basics of what entrepreneurship, what do you mean by evidence-based entrepreneurship, what is GDC, what are the mistakes by startups which leads them to fail. Then we came on to week two, which was about hand holding for entrepreneurship. We invited guests from GDC to share their insights, their story, Anurag, Amit, and Mayuri. In week three, we had the Chakku 7 CL, 7 concerns. So, I was talking about the methodology of innovation. And week four was about ideas program and solar urban case study by Mr. Avinash. Week five was about the healthcare and innovation and the medtech success stories, following which week six was about two guests, Ms. Shilpi and Mr. Thayan, both from IDC School of Design and heading their organizations like Khoj Labs and FX Studios. And finally, we are here at week seven. Uh, sorry. Yeah. In week seven, where we have the guest, Dr. Kaustubh Dhaargalkar, who is a founder and author of on design thinking. It's titled It's Logical. And it talks about the week seven talks about humanizing technology by Chakku sir. And then you have business model canvas by Dr. Kaustubh. And you have got two very interesting ALMs, which is the additional learning material. It's a case study of Arvind Aiker, and I suggest that please go through it. It's very critical, very relevant to the Indian context, and a lot of people have gone through the way they have innovated their practices of eye surgeries and eye care in India. Okay. So I think now everybody would have really understood the typology of questions. The first one is the single correct answer, and the second one is the multiple correct answers. So I can just select any one of them. It restricts me to choose just one correct answer. And the second typology is multiple correct answer, wherein I can select multiple of them, one of them of then comes the marking of the multiple choice questions. Let's take a minute. I would request all of you to please Go through it and let's take an example and we'll try to understand what it talks about. Okay. Just take a minute, go through it, and let me know the correct answer. Very basic question. All right. The question says which among the below are board games? So yes, Monopoly is a board game, Snake and Ladder is a board game, and Ludo is a board game. The incorrect answer is table tennis. Now let's see the scenarios which we can derive out of it. First scenario is very clear. You select only the correct options, submit, you get full marks. Second scenario is wherein you select the incorrect option. Say, for example, you selected A, B, and D, you selected A, B, C, D, you selected A and D, B and D, things like that. No marks because you've selected the correct answer, which is D in our case. And let's take the scenario 3. It says if only correct answers are chosen but not all correct answers are chosen, then partial marks. Which means that if I select A and B, B and C, A and C, or A, B, or C, I will get some kind of proportionate mark, right? So, for example, here when I select all, I get 1 marks. Here I'll get probably 0.66, and here I'll get 0.33. Okay. So this is what proportionate marking is. So these are the teammate learners, the top ones from the week 6, Ankush, Vishal, Sheikh, and Bhavna. So well done, guys. Keep joining, keep learning. That's the motivation. Let me just look congratulations message. Now here comes the week 7. Now week 7 was about humanizing technology, wherein we started with Professor Chakravarti talking about where he's teaching at, that is the IDC School of Design at IIT Bombay. And he talks about humanizing technologies and he explains that it is about making technology work for users, being empathetic to the needs of the customers, right? And here is the Shenoy Brothers, Shenoy Innovation Studio. They funded it. Then comes the art of creative ideation using synectics, which is about taking analogies from other areas to come up with the new ideas. Synectics. So here is an example wherein the brief was to develop a next gen facial hair removal device or a way to remove facial hairs, and the students went across different departments of IT Delhi, and then they came up with these all diverse ideas, right? So Synaptics is about being creative by putting your watchman in a mind to sleep, because we tend to adopt safer path, the obvious path. And then the collaboration is one of the keys to the innovation. And then he started giving examples about the petrol pump design and how he took the examples from a Nokia mobile phone and how it reaped lots and lots of benefits in a petrol pump, which was, mind blowing. And then comes the design of the bullet pump for Midco, and that's the Z line pump for, LFT, in which Chakrabarti was working. And these are some of the designs they worked, they collaborated, and here a complete model of collaboration, wherein there is it's a very flexible model in which the core team interacts with the enterprise wide and the network team. So that model has been beautifully described by Professor Chakravarti, and it was also a part of his PhD research. And these are the members from Signboard and Sunflower model of automation. All right. And then comes Sir Costa. If you have not seen the video, it is Costa with here. Here is Professor Chaku. The remaining you see are the IIT Hyderabad and students. So the agenda is the significance of business model, and this was what Sir Costa was talking about, and he started with a very interesting example of development of a device for speech and hearing impaired, and what were the challenges, how they developed it into a cloud offering rather than a physical product, and they leveraged and participated and associated themselves with some of the leading brands to develop a very interesting business model. Uh, so, and then these are a few other examples of Practo, of how the business model is shaped, and then the different kind of business models which are available in the market, which people are following, which the businesses are following, including Double Whammy by Javed Habib. Duolingo again follows the same. And then comes the fractional ownership of business model. We gave the case study of NetJets, and then Xiaomi for the perceived shortage. That was its model, similar to the lines of Zara. They had a fixed fashion cycle. And here is Dr. Kostow, and it's his book. It's logical, innovating, profitable business models. And he insists upon asking the six questions, 5H and 1W, of how do we reach the customer, how do we optimize our operations, how do we source our manpower, how do we source our inputs, what kinds of types should we seek, and how do we create a mix of optimal product mix. Right? So this is the generic of it, and you can figure it out. The early adopters were in dire need and willingness to experiment. The channels, how will you take your product to the customer? How will you what will your marketing channels and how will you make the user feel? Right. Then comes the lean canvas, the business model canvas. That's it. So before we start the session of 10 questions, let me quickly make a short video. This video is a summary of
Hey
the entire
everyone, and welcome.
gist
Today
of
we
the
are
entire
diving
thing.
deep into the innovator's journey. We're going to see how looking in the most unexpected places, I'm talking physics labs, even bacteria, can lead to absolutely brilliant products. And how even the best product in the world can fail without one crucial thing. Let's jump right in. But first, I've got a challenge for you. I want you to forget everything you know about razors, okay? Just wipe the slate clean. Now, what if I asked you to create a way to shave that was as simple as wiping your face with a cloth? Seriously, where would you even begin? Keep that question rattling around in your head, because the answer? Well, it reveals the secret to truly breakthrough thinking. And that secret is a technique called synectics. Now, the core idea here is that to be genuinely creative, you have to find a way to, and I love this phrase, put the watchman in your mind to sleep. You know that watchman, right? It's the part of your brain that always wants to take the safe, familiar path. Synectics basically forces that watchman to take a nap by making you look for answers in the most bizarre and unexpected places. So, let's get back to our shaving challenge. One group of students, right, they wandered into a physics lab and saw something called an excimer laser. And boom, the light bulb just went off. They thought, wait a second, if a laser can be that precise, why can't we create a wand that just zaps off hair with a tiny beam of light? A totally new path, inspired by a completely different field. Okay, so another team took a totally different route. They went and visited the biotechnology department. And their crazy analogy? Bacteria. They asked, what if you could create an applicator with custom-designed bacteria that would just, eat away the hair? No blades, no lasers, just pure biology. Now, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but that's what a real creative leap looks like. And then you had the mechanical engineering approach. Their thinking was just brilliantly simple. They said, look, if a high-pressure water jet can cut through solid steel, it can definitely handle a beard. And from that, they imagined a water jet cleaning mechanism you could use right in your own bathroom. Simple, powerful, and again from a totally different world. So, you see the pattern here, right? The really crucial point is that all the breakthrough ideas came not from thinking harder about razors, but from looking sideways at lasers and bacteria and water jets. This is what we call digging wide, not just deep. And get this, connecting unrelated concepts like this can literally jump your creativity by up to 4 times. It's a total game changer. Now that's all great for brainstorming, but how does this actually work in the real world with a real product? Well, let's look at the incredible story of the Z-Line petrol pump and how designing for people, not just for machines, created an absolute market leader. What's so amazing here is that every single innovation came from simple observation and analogy. I mean, old pumps had these heavy, clunky hoses, right? So Z-Line mounted theirs on top, making it feel almost weightless. The displays were tiny and hard to read, so they borrowed ideas from Nokia phones to make them big and crystal clear. And they even solved this massive problem where people were getting cheated, all with a tiny, cheap bearing that made sure customers got every single drop they paid for. And here is the absolute kicker. You'd think with all these awesome improvements, it would be way more expensive to make. Nope. The brilliant, user-focused design was also brilliant for the business. It was a whopping 75% cheaper in sheet metal costs alone. This is such a crucial lesson. By focusing on the user, they made a product that was better for everyone, the customer, the station owner, and their own bottom line. Better design literally was better business. But the ultimate proof, it's always in the people. The designers noticed that within just a few days, auto rickshaw drivers, who are incredibly sensitive to fuel efficiency, it's their livelihood, were lining up specifically for the Z-Line pumps. They knew, they could feel it, that they were getting a fair fill, and they voted with their wallets. It's just a brilliant illustration of how user trust can be your most powerful marketing tool, period. So they had a smash hit product on their hands. Story over, happy ending, right? Well, not quite. Because as we're about to see, sometimes the most innovative, most brilliant product in the world can still fail if you have the wrong business model. And that brings us to our next story, a smart wristband designed for the hearing impaired. It was an empathetic, absolutely brilliant idea that was on the fast track to failure. And it was saved not by a design change, but by a radical pivot in the business itself. The product itself was simple and just genius. It was a wristband that connects to your home appliances. So the doorbell rings, you get a vibration and a red light. The microwave is done, you get a different vibration and a green light. Simple, right? It solved a real, everyday problem for a specific group of people. A perfect product, or so it seemed. So the problem wasn't the product. It was the plan to manufacture it. It was a nightmare. It needed 19 different licenses, a 20-month wait, and worst of all, it was incredibly easy for some giant company to just copy it and crush them. So they made a massive pivot. Instead of making the wristband itself, they decided to build the brain. They open-sourced the hardware designs and created a cloud platform, offering an API to every appliance and wristband maker in the world. They went from a tiny hardware company to a global software platform and were eventually acquired for 32 crores. Wow. This just goes to show you that how you sell is just as important as what you sell. Sometimes, the business model itself can be your single most powerful innovation. So let's look at a few blueprints from smart companies who won by completely changing the rules of the game. Okay, let's break these down real quick. Duolingo uses something called a double whammy model. So you, the user, you learn a language for free, right? But while you're doing that, you're also unknowingly helping them complete paid translation jobs. They get paid by you using the app and by the client. Then you have Zara and Xiaomi, who create a perceived shortage. Their flash sales and super fast fashion cycles make you feel like you have to buy it right now, which is a great way to boost sales. And NetJets totally opened up the private jet market with fractional ownership, basically selling a small piece of a plane to people who could never afford a whole one. So, how can you actually apply this to your own ideas? It really starts by asking the right questions. Don't just obsess over your product. Ask things like, how can we reach our customer differently, like that wristband team did? How can we source our manpower creatively, the way Duolingo crowdsources its translators? Or how can we source our main input, like how Uber sources cars directly from its drivers? These questions force you to innovate your entire business. not just the thing you sell. At the end of the day, the journey from a spark of an idea to real-world impact isn't just about having a great product. It's about designing a great system around that product. It's not just about what you make, it's about how you make it matter. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what rules are you going to rewrite?
And with that, what we'll do is we'll quickly open up the concept mapping. Yes. So this is again basically a mapping tool. You can use it for your own learning, but it actually gives us a very good overview of the content, right? And that's why I've been utilizing this for many of our sessions. So this broadly talks about two aspects: humanizing technology by Professor Chakravarti and business model canvas by Dr. Costa. Within humanizing technology, you've got many aspects, philosophy, innovation process, idea generation, sector design. Example of the petrol pump side. Now, let's talk about the right? Yes, audible, and I think my screen is visible. Yeah, right. So, you can check here. Just give me a minute. Yeah, that's great. So in the core philosophy, it talks about having an empathetic design, supports people, and using technology for the users. Then comes the innovation process, which talks about design thinking, design the innovation process. Then comes the creative idea generation, in which he talks about utilizing a technique called selectics, which is about taking analogies, right? So you can have direct and indirect analogies, and he gives lots and lots of examples, right? So very interesting way of creative idea generation. And then the case study. Now, what he had given it to his students. Now, what you see here is the same brief, but then lots and lots of solutions from physics lab to biotech, bacteria to eat here, ultrasonic, hair shaker, and water jet cleaning, a chemical that prevents the growth of the hairs in itself. So you see, I mean, how much of ideation and diversification of ideation happened. Then comes the collaborative model of innovation, wherein it talks about, the three pillars of core team and supporting team and the network team. Centered design. It's the best way is entrepreneurship. We have to go towards the user. We have to talk to your potential users, customers, and it's sunflower model, which we have already seen in our curriculum recap. These are the key learnings of listening to the people, listening to the interns, and then finally comes in the petrol pump case study, right? And after this, we had the business model canvas by Professor Kostov, and he talks about why the business model can so important, so critical. Key concepts of thinking platforms, followed by the different types of business model, the double whammy, fractional ownership, and perceived shortage through flash sales and online lead, right? And then what are the main questions for a sustainable business models? The 5H and 1W, the lean canvas, the early adopters, business model canvas, the process flow, and then the student example of backpack. One of the idea that our students they shared their whole canvas and they were ideating upon it. They were in okay. So this is how the entire content is, and if you open up this branch as well, it will again lead you lots and lots of content. So if you see, this is a very good visualizing method, but then it helps you gain good understanding of all the aspects of what we have discussed. Very quick way of interpreting what was discussed. Right. So let's get back to our set of 10 questions. Take break at 4 o'clock, okay? Let's cover till 4 o'clock and then we'll take off. Here we are at the onset of set of 10 questions. First question is, as discussed in the module Business Model Canvas by Professor Costa, how was manufacturing issue solved in case of wristband designed for speech and hearing impairment? The options are by making the product open source, by creating a cloud platform, by reducing the features of the product or product features. Now, now remember, it is a multiple choice question. So there are more than one correct answers. All right. So take a minute, think about it, and let me know the correct answer. What I'll do is I'll just, because the internet is consuming a lot of lots of bandwidth, I'll turn off my camera, but my voice will be there. Yes. So here comes your first question. Take some time. Let me know. What you can do is you can share your answers in the Gmail message or chat. All right. So take a minute, think about the question, explore the options which you are having, and let me know the correct answer. Take a minute or two to read the question and let me know. They were talking about how the manufacturing issue was solved in the wristband, which was designed by the students for speech and hearing impairment. So they developed a wristband for that lady housewife who was at home and who was speech and hearing impaired. Where students were actually observing them, shadowing them, and then they came up with the design of wristband. You need to tell us how were they able to solve the manufacturing issue. You know, there were a lot of concerns about whether the Chinese will copy it, right, or about the regulations, the licenses. Think and let me know. I'll repeat the question once again. As per the business model canvas by Professor Kaustubh, manufacturing issue with respect to their device on the wristband designed for the speech and hearing impaired. How are they able to solve it? By making the product open source or by creating a cloud platform by reducing the features product or all of them. Take a minute, think about it, let me know. Hello. Yes. हाँ डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिजाइन तो बिलिंग एड्रेस का शिपिंग एड्रेस तो दूसरा है हाँ let's quickly have a look at the question and the answer. Okay. So if you see the product, it was the customer was deaf and mute user group, and this was the device they were talking about for the deaf and mute user. It was a wristband device, and what they did was they utilized a cloud platform. So they made it open to all. Okay, so anybody can get access to it and utilize it and build a model. So the correct answers are option A by making the product open source. So anybody has access to it, and B by creating the cloud platform. All right. Let's go to our second question. What are some of the key aspects of the business model approach as discussed by Professor Kostov? Options are shift the paradigm of your thinking, think positively, think platforms, and shift your plan the future. Okay, these are the options. Think about it and let me know the correct answer. Insights by Professor Kostov. Enough time for this. The key insights of this model approach by Professor Costa. The options are Shift the paradigm of your thinking, think positively, think platforms, and shift your plan in the future. If we quickly have a look. Okay, all right. What's going on? That's perfect. Let's have a look at the screen validation. Your first idea may not be the best one. Shift the paradigm of your thinking. A different way to reach the same customer. Don't think products, think platforms. Okay. Think beyond hardware, more avenues for monetization. Okay. So it says your first idea may not be the best one. Okay. So keep ideating, keep iterating your ideas. We saw the method of select picks, yeah, right, of creative ideation. You utilize it on analogies, and you can use both of them, the direct ones and the indirect ones. All right. So the correct answer is option A, which is shift the paradigm of your thinking, and option C, which is think platforms in terms of scalability. How would you scale your operations, your marketing, your product sales? It's about that. Okay. Let's come to our third question. According to Module 7, humanizing technology is about. The options are making technology work for users, being empathetic to the needs of the customers, and both A and B and none of them. So we're trying to understand what do you mean by humanizing technology. What does it mean? Okay. Does it mean making the technology work for users or being empathetic to the needs of the users, needs of the customers? Is it about both A and B, which means this and this, or none of the above? Yani ki none of these. This basically means something else only, not among these options. Okay. So think about it and let me know. Take your time. And after this question, we'll take a break of 5 to 7 minutes. We'll be continuing. But let us first conclude this question. Or 20 minutes, what we can do is it is already 1 hour since we are sitting. And I've always said that prolonged sitting is never good for health. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick break. Take a break of five minutes or so, and let me know the response to this question, and we'll proceed further. Okay. What I do is I'll just mute myself, and the questions will be So we are back, and what we'll do is we'll take a break, short break, and we'll proceed further. Okay. All right. So the question was, according to module 7, humanizing technology is about what? Is it about making technology work for users? Is it about being empathetic to the needs of the customers? Is it about both A and B, or none of the above? Okay. I think we've got enough time. Let's see what it talks about. So here in the screenshot, it says making technology work for users and being empathetic to the needs of the customers. Okay, so there are two aspects of it. You are first making the technology work for users, and second is being empathetic to the needs of the customers, right? So this is what Professor Chakravarti was referring to when he talked about humanizing technology. So the correct answer in our case is both A and B, which is humanizing technology for users. That is making technology work for users and being empathetic to the needs of the customers. Okay, this is what humanizing technology is about. Making technology work for users and being empathetic to the needs of the customers. All right. Let's proceed to our question number fourth. Among the following, which of these questions have to be touched upon to remain in the sweet spot? Okay, we're talking about the sweet spot according to Professor Costa. How do we source our manpower? How do we optimize our operations? How do we reach the customers? And how do we provide solutions to the organizations? Right. So we've got four options. Again, it's a multi-select question, which means multiple correct answers. Okay. And you have to tell us which one is the right one. So take your time and let me know. Just read the questions, read the options. I think it's a very direct one. And share your perspective, share your opinions in the chat box. Okay. To remain in the sweet spot, what questions needs to be asked? So just to give you a hint, it was about yes, this is a hint given to you, and let me know the correct answer. Okay. Referring to the sweet spot as per Professor Costa. Think about it and let me. Main sweet spot, which of the following questions needs to be asked? Is it about how do we source our manpower? How do we optimize the operations? हाउ डू वी रीच द कस्टमर्स, एज एन आप कस्टमर्स तक कैसे रीच कर सकते हैं? एंड हाउ डू वी प्रोवाइड सॉल्यूशंस टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, यानी कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को आप कैसे सॉल्यूशंस प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं? Take the last 2 minutes, think about it, let me know. Final 2 minutes. And after that, I'll let you know. Last 1 minute, and then we'll see the correct answers. I think we have taken enough time for this question. Let's see the screen validation. Now, like I told you, it was about five hows and one W, which was about how do we reach the customer, how do we optimize the business operations, how do we source the manpower, and how do we source our inputs, what kind of time should we seek, and how do we create an optimal product mix. So there are six questions, five hows and one why. Maybe I mentioned it incorrectly. Okay, yeah, this is five hows and one why. Okay, so the correct answers, if you see, are option A, how do we source our manpower? Option B, how do we optimize our operations? And option C, how do we reach the customer? Right? Let's come to question number five. And it's an interesting question where the question has been framed in a fill in the blanks format. According to Professor Kostab, early adopters is theoretically any customer who has a dire, this is the first blank, and willingness to dash, this is the second blank. So these are the two options, and you need to tell us which one are the correct ones. The options are requirement and willingness to purchase, dire demand and willingness to take risk, dire need and willingness to experiment, and dire need, necessity and willingness to learn. Okay, we are referring to early adopters, and you have to tell what is the blank one and what is the blank two. All right. So take some time, reflect upon the question. It's a direct question, not a very tricky one, and let me know the correct answer. Early adopters are what type of customers? There are the two blanks that will reflect the correct answer. It's a single correct answer question. for the early adopters, and can have 1 more minute to reflect upon the question. So, what type of customers have a dire need? So, it's a fill in the blank question, and you have to tell. Okay, it's a fill in the blank question, and you have to reply back in terms of dire, the first blank, and willingness to the second blank. And I have 1 last minute, and then we'll reflect upon the correct answer. Right, so you can respond using the chat box of the Google Meet. Okay, so let's discuss the correct answers. First, we will see the visual summary. Okay, so early adopter, theoretically, any customer who has a dire need and willingness to experiment. Okay, so this can be any person, who has a dire need, which means that they actually need that kind of a product, and then they are ready to experiment. Okay, so this is how they define the early adopter. All right. So the correct answer is having a dire need and willingness to experiment. Okay. So the correct answer is option C, who are in a dire need and the willingness to experiment. All right. Let's go to our sixth question. Which of the following schemes was applied in the NetJet case study as discussed by Professor Kostav? Okay. So the options given to you are four kind of ownership schemes. The first is fractional ownership. Second is a business ownership. Third is the NetJet itself, the NetJet ownership. And fourth is the holistic ownership scheme. Okay. We are referring to the case of NetJets, the airplanes. If you remember, we saw different case studies, different kind of business models, double whammy, fractional, and then perceived shortage. So you need to tell us which belongs to the NetJet case study. Okay. Again, you have few minutes. Reflect upon the question, see the answers, see the choices, and let me know the correct answer. To tell us the NetJet case study, which of the following schemes directly correlate with the NetJet's case study? Is it the fractional ownership scheme? Is it the business ownership scheme, the NetJet ownership scheme, or the holistic ownership scheme? So it's a radio button question, which means that only one correct answer, and which of them is correct, that you have to tell us. The net just case study, which ownership scheme we are referring to. The four options we have to tell one. You have got last 1 minute. For recent enough time. Let's see the correct answer of this question. Now, if you remember, this was one of the examples given in the fractional ownership, right? What do you mean by fractional ownership? If you remember fractions, so one thing can be fractioned in half, odd, right? So fractions are tiny bits and pieces, right? So the ownership here is fractioned, all right? What do you mean by that? So they targeted this, second semi-rich segment, which are one below the super rich, wherein they could not own the a private jet by themselves, but coming together, they might be able to have one jet for their own use. Now, how it worked was that the amount of money they put in, the ownership was given for that particular duration in a proportionate manner. Okay, and the advantages were, they purchased the same jets from same company, a uniform fleet, which means the maintenance costs are lower, the maintenance of pilots and in-flight crew was also maintained by the NGS team. So it gave a win-win situation to people who are the second in command in the semi-rich segment and deriving them the benefit of owning a jet, right? So the correct answer is option A, which is the fractional ownership scheme. All right. So NetJet study is about the fractional ownership, wherein the ownership is fractured and it is dependent on the amount which these semi-rich people are putting in. Okay. According to it, they will be getting the proportionate number of days of retaining the aircraft. All right. Then comes the question number 7, which is about Professor Kostov in module 7. Any solution must take care of these three aspects. So you need to tell what are the three aspects which any solution must take care of. Again, you have got four options with single correct answer. The options are convenience, reliability, and market cost, viability, desirability, and validity, feasibility, manageability, reliability, and desirability, feasibility, and viability. Okay. Again, you have got few minutes. Think upon it, and let me know what is the correct answer. So take some time, reflect upon the question, try to recall the answer. If you remember, there was a Venn diagram which was also shown to you in the content recap. Okay, so just ponder upon it and you'll get the response. Okay. Once again, rethink, recollect, recall, and let me know the correct answer. Take your time, reflect upon the question, and let me know. 3 to question number 7, and you need to tell us the three key aspects of any solution. You've got four options, of which only one is correct. It's a single correct answer question, and you need to tell us what would be the right answer. Take a few minutes, ponder upon, and let me know the correct answer. All right, I think we've taken enough time. Let's see the scheme validation. So it says we need to reach the sweet spot. This is the sweet spot, and it lies right in between desirability by humans, feasibility in terms of tech, and viability in terms of business. So, business viability, tech feasibility, and human desirability, right? So, it is something which is there in the IDF, which is Interaction Design Foundation. And in the NPTEL section, what you see here is this a Venn diagram with overlapping circles, and the sweet spot is basically the portion right here. And he suggests us that we need to pivot till we reach the sweet spot. Okay, pivoting, I hope you already understand. We have already seen references and case studies in terms of pivoting. So the correct answer is desirability, that is human desirability, business, and feasibility. Tech feasibility and business viability. Okay. And whether it is desirable by humans or whether it is technologically feasible and whether it is business viable. Business viability in terms of business. Let's come to our eighth question. As an early startup venture, an entrepreneur should focus upon which of these factors as discussed in the module business model canvas. All right. Now you've got four options: reach, market options, customization, and practicality of situation. And you have to tell us which of these factors should be focused upon as a early startup venture. Okay. So considering that you are an early startup venture, all right, your focus should be where, in what factors? Should be reach, market options, customization, or practicality of situation. Okay, it's a multi correct answer question. Okay, take your time, think about it, and let us know. Tell us which of these factors must be focused upon by early startup ventures as per Professor Kosto. All right, I think we have taken enough time. Let's see the state validation. In a venture, take a call based on your reach and the practicality of situation. Don't just go by theoretical definition. This is one of the things I would want you to think when you fill your lean canvas. You would want to generate a cash flow soon enough at the startup. Okay, so reach and practicality of the situations are very, very critical. So the correct answer is A, which is reach as a factor, and sorry, so two steps. Practicality of the situation. Correct answers are A and D. These are the two factors that needs to be taken care by the early startup ventures. Critical factors. Okay. Let's proceed to our ninth question. As per the examples of Zara and Xiaomi shared by Professor Kostov, these examples explain how a dash can differentiate you from competition. Okay. I think it's a very direct one. The options are business model, lean canvas, marketing strategy, and store design. So, what is the correct answer of this blank that can differentiate you from the competition? Okay. There's a huge, competition in the market, lots and lots of brands competing to each other. How is it that you can be differentiated from your competitors? That is what Professor Kostov is trying to ask. In the context of two examples, which is Zara and Xiaomi. Take some time, couple of minutes, and let me know the correct answer. Okay. If taken enough time in this, let's see the screen validation. These examples explain how a business model can differentiate you from the competition. These are few examples you find in the book, and the correct answer is the business model. If you recall, we talked about having fractional ownership scheme, the fractional business model, the double whammy, and and then the perceived shortage. Those were the examples given. Okay, so the correct answer is business model. Now comes the final and last question of the session today. As explained by Professor Costa, Zara's perceived shortage business model is evident by what fashion cycle? Is it the monthly? Is it the 90-day limited window? Yeah, unlimited sale. Okay. We are referring to Zara's perceived shortage business model, which is evident by what kind of fashion cycle. Okay. You have to tell us what kind of fashion cycle do they project. Who projects? Zara. Perceived shortage. Right? You've got four options. It's a multi-select question, which means multiple correct answer. Do remember that. All right. And again, let's take a few minutes to think and ponder upon it, and we'll let you know the correct answer. All right. Just take a minute. So I think we have taken enough time. We were talking about the Zara's perceived shortage business model, and it is evident by what kind of fashion cycle. That was the question. The options given to you were monthly, 90-day, limited window, and unlimited sale. Let's see the visual snapshot. And it says Zara's 90-day fashion cycle, which is approximately 3 months. It's a 90-day fashion cycle. In 90 days, the fashion changes. The fashion changes, which means it goes to a different location. All right. So it goes to Asia, Africa, and that is how it changes. Okay. It's a 90-day and creating a perceived shortage. All right. Particular style and has a limited window. So you end up picking two in different colors instead of one. All right. So the correct answers are two of them, which is 90-day and the limited window option. All right. Which is creating a perceived shortage. All right. So these are the correct answers, which means monthly, 90 days, and limited windows. All right. With that, we conclude the set of 10 questions. And the questions on the discussion forum are being responded to by the NPTEL team member. Right. And what now we'll do is we'll quickly save it. Let me just quickly save it. And what I'll do is I'll just quickly show you where the questions are being responded to in our discussion forum functionality, so that you are aware. And just in case you want to ask a question, you can utilize that NPTEL platform. All right. Meanwhile, this is getting saved. We'll go here and you'll go to the course. All right. See, the recording is going on. Yes, it is. Okay. And if you see the discussion forum, it basically can be reached from the Q&A section. You click here, it leads you to a different page. And if you see, these are the questions, and these questions are being responded to. So, Mr. Dinoj has been taking care of a lot of questions. And then we've got Mr. Omkar, who's also taking care of these questions. So, thank you, team members who are helping in responding to these questions. All right. And let me quickly tell you that the week 8 module is already live, and it is about the sign incubator. Paini Bhatt will be talking about, and Ms. Bratati talking about the sign and how it is helping. And then the very interesting case study of Attenberg. It has become a big name in the electrical appliances unit, and which they have scaled up in a very humongous way, right? So you can see a lot of ads, you can see a lot of products they are coming up with. Uh, the week 8 assignment is due on 17th of September, right? Just week 8 assignment is due on 17th of September. So take your time and do submit it. And lastly, I would like to tell you about the problem solving recordings. So if you click here, as I told you, it opens you to again a page wherein you click here and it leads you to a spreadsheet, right? And from here, you'll be able to take care of all these things, and I'll tell you how so the today's week 7 content will be uploaded by today itself, just a few minutes from now, and most probably by tomorrow. Okay. So with that, I think we can conclude the session, and I'll just quickly stop the screen sharing. And I would like to once again thanks all for being there, for being a very good learner. And I do understand that there are a lot of challenges in attending these sessions on a very regular basis. There are students, there are faculty members, there are professionals who have their prime engagement which is there. And that is where these sessions are being recorded and uploaded on YouTube. So with your time of comfort, with your time of luxury, you can at your own pace, you can go through the content and relook at these set of 10 questions. All right. So with that, I conclude my session for today. Thank you so much. We'll see whether the recording is, yeah, I think